In this tutorial, we're going to look at strings in Java. So earlier in the course, we printed the hello world message on the terminal. This hello world that we have here is a string, or more accurately, it's a string literal. That means a string value. Now let's extract this from here and store it in a string variable. So cut. Just before this line, we type string. Now look, this string class is defined in java.lang package. What is interesting is that we don't have an import statement to import this package or import this class because this package is automatically imported. So we can use any classes that are defined in this package. Now let's declare a variable called message. And because this is a reference type, we should instantiate this variable using the new operator. So new string, and here in parentheses, we type our message, hello world. However, here we have this little warning. Take a look. New string is redundant because in Java, there is a shorter way to initialize string variables. Let me show you. So instead of using the new operator, we simply set this to our string literal. Now on the surface, this looks like a primitive type because we are not using the new operator, but this is just a shorthand to initialize a string variable. Strings are reference types in Java. But because we use them often, there is a short way to create them. So now let's pass message to the printline method and run our program. We get the exact same result as before. Beautiful. Now let's look at a few interesting things that you can do with strings. We can concatenate or join a string with another one using the plus operator. So here we can combine this with another string with 2 exclamation marks. And here's the result. Now, because string is a class, it has members that we can access using the dot operator. So we can type message dot, and these are all the methods or functions defined in the string class. For example, we have this method here ends with, and with this, we can check to see if our string ends with a character or sequence of characters. For example, here we can pass a string to see if our message ends with 2 exclamation marks. Now, instead of printing the message, let's print this expression here. So let's run the program. We get true. So this method that we have called here returns a Boolean value, which can be true or false. We also have another method starts with. Let's take a look. Now in this case, we get false because our message doesn't start with 2 exclamation marks. Another useful method is length. So we can call that to get the length of a string, which is the number of characters. So message.length, take a look. So in this string, we have 13 characters. And this is useful in situations where you want to check the length of the input by the user. For example, you might have a sign-up form with a username field. You can check the length of someone's username and give them an error if the username is longer than, let's say, 20 characters. Pretty useful. We also have another method that is index of, and this returns the index of the first occurrence of the character or the string that we pass here. For example, if we pass h, the index of h is 0. So let's run the program. There you go, we get 0. If we pass e, we get 1 because the index of the first e in this message is 1. Now, what if we pass a character or a string that doesn't exist in this message? Let's say sky. We get -1. So with this method, we can check to see if a string contains certain characters or words or sentences and so on. Another useful method is replace. And with this, we can replace one or more characters with something else. For example, we can replace any exclamation marks with, let's say, a star. So this replace method has 2 parameters. One is target, the other is replacement. And here we're passing 2 values for these parameters. Here's the first value, here's the second value, and we have separated these values using a comma. Now in programming terms, we refer to these values as arguments. A lot of programmers don't know the difference between parameters and arguments. Parameters are the holes that we define in our methods. Arguments are the actual values that we pass to these methods. So in this case, target and replacement are parameters, but exclamation mark and asterisk are arguments. Now let's run this program and see what happens. So our exclamation marks are replaced with stars. Now what is important here is that this method does not modify our original string. It returns a new string. So if we print our original string right after SRUT, tab, message, you can see the original string is not changed. Because in Java, strings are immutable. We cannot mutate them. We cannot change them. So any methods that modify a string will always return a new string object. Okay? We also have another useful method, toLowercase. Let's take a look. So toLowercase converts all characters to lowercase. And once again, you can see that the original string is not affected because this method returns a new string. Okay? We also have toUppercase. And another useful method is trim. And with this, we can get rid of extra white spaces that can be at the beginning or the end of a string. Sometimes our users type unnecessary spaces in form fields. So using the trim method, we can get rid of these white spaces. Let me show you. So I'm going to add a couple of spaces before and after our message. Now, when we trim it, these white spaces are going to get removed. Take a look. So here's the original string. You can see 2 white spaces at the beginning. And here's our string after trimming. So these are some useful methods in the string class, but this class has more methods that we don't have time to cover in this lecture. But as we go through the course, you're going to learn more about the string class and other useful classes in Java.